Streaming now. Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting of the Wellington Shire Council on the 21st of February 2023. Before I continue, we have one councillor. Councillor Crosley is online. Councillor Crosley, can you see and hear me?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I can see and hear you quite clearly.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Members of the public gallery should note that the Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate times during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but wish to communicate with the Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure that their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. Please could gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. I shall now read the mission statement. Working together to make a difference, we listen and lead to provide quality services that improve life for all. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our offices are located on the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai Nation. We pay our deep respects to their elders past, present and future and acknowledge their ongoing culture and spiritual connections to their land and waters. Is there any apologies? There are none tonight. Is there any declarations of conflict of interest? No. Could I have someone please to move item 3.1, adoption of minutes of previous council meeting? Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the ordinary council meeting of the 7th of February 2023. And
seconded by Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Wood?
Thank you, Mayor.
Item 4, business arising from previous meetings, there are none. Item 5, acceptance of late or urgent items, there are none. Item 6, notices of motion, there are none. Item 7, receiving of petitions or joint letters, there are none. Item 8, invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. Do we have any? Councillor McKenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. On Thursday, February 16, the Gippsland Agricultural Group conducted a dinner attended by over 140 farmers and community groups from South Gippsland, Wellington and East Gippsland Shires to present their 2022 research results that, to say the least, were impressive. The room was abuzz with energy and thoughtful presentations. The GAGG management walked us through a number of trials and pilot results from wheat and barley to subsoil amelioration, plus much more. It was great to be sitting in a room with collaborative and progressive thinking people, all working as one for the future of the land and sustainability through whatever weather patterns are thrown at them. The GAGG vision and mission is to be a leading organisation in showcasing resilience, sustainability and profitable agricultural in Gippsland through collaboration, innovation, research and education. Last May, GAGG presented to Wellington Council their vision and support for our wonderful farming community to assist with improved cropping, and my fellow councillors were unanimous in funding this research for the next 3 years. I look forward to the GAGG's future results and wish them well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McKenzie. Do we have anyone else? Councillor Crosley.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to acknowledge that we are in the midst of World Pride Week. This has got some important anniversaries this week. It's the 50th. It's the anniversary of the 50th Australian Gay Pride Week. It's the 45th Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, and the 5th year anniversary of the Australian Marriage Equality, and the very first World Pride event that's been held in the Southern Hemisphere and being hosted by Sydney. This is a time to reflect on just how far the civil rights have progressed in the last half century, and the opportunity to acknowledge that we still have work to do to alleviate the prejudice and disadvantage experienced by the LGBTQIA+ community. It's a great big colourful party, but it also has got the serious side that looks at addressing human rights issues. So I thought we should acknowledge it as we're in the midst of that week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. And I have one. I was lucky enough on Friday to attend an MAV conference with a couple of fellow councillors. The conference was about leadership. And I must say that the quality of speakers that was put on by the team there, led of course by our President David Clark, was fantastic. And I think my fellow councillors would agree that we actually got a lot out of that leadership conference. It was interesting. Our last speaker was quite a buzz. She wore a silicone dress out to present to us all, and what she was all about, and she's ranked top 30 as a speaker in Australia, it was all about how you conduct yourself as a leader in front of an audience. And I take away a lot from particularly that speaker, but also the other speakers for the day. So thank you, David, and the team at MAV for providing these great seminars for us to attend. Item 9, there are no questions on notice. Item 10.1, Mayor and Council Report, December 2022. Someone to move that, please.
Thanks.
Councillor Ripper.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move that the Mayor and Council report be noted.
Do I have someone to second that? I think Councillor Stevens by a whisker over Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Ripper.
Thanks, Mayor. In 1st of December in Maffra, the Mayor attended the sensory gardening opening and barbecue at the George Gray Centre. And on Councillor Tatterson, on the 9th of December, attended the MAV mayoral welcome and induction as Deputy Mayor. On the 14th of December, an innovation breakfast making Gippsland a great place for young people, Councillor Maher attended. The 19th of December, offshore wind announcement, Minister Bowen, Sea Spray Surf Lifesaving Club, Mayor By, Councillor Stevens and Councillor Mackenzie attended. Then we move on to January the 26th, Australia Day. We had a ceremony at Sale along with a citizenship ceremony. Mayor By and Councillor Ripper attended. McLaughlin's Beach Residents and Ratepayers Association Australia Day event, Councillor Maher attended. Yarra Memorial Gardens Australia Day event, Councillor Stevens attended. Lions Club of Locksport Australia Day event, Councillor Stevens attended. Hayfield Lions Club Australia Day event, Councillor Ripper attended. Lions Club of Stratford Australia Day, Councillor Ripper attended. Rotary Club of Yarram Australia Day, Barbecue and Breakfast Awards, Councillor Mackenzie. Surf Lifesaving Club Sea Spray Australia Day event, Councillor Mackenzie. Councillor Wood, the Rotary Club of Maffra Australia Day event, and Councillor Crosley attended the Rosedale Old School Committee Australia Day event. And that's also especially thank you to all those councillors who attended the Australia Day events. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. Item 11, Delegates Reports. Do we have any? No. Item 12, 12.1, Chief Executive Officer's Report, December 2022. Can I someone to move that, please? Councillor Maher.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Chief Executive Officer's Report be received.
And do I have someone to second that? Councillor Tatterson. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Maher.
Thank you, Mayor. The CEO has certainly been very busy over the period of December and January 2023 with a big list of events, meetings and activities over that period of time. Over December, he met with the RAF in Sale, Rural Councils Victoria, Department Jobs Precincts and Regions, RDV and Destination Gippsland, as well as the Gippsland Climate Change Network. And in January, he met with the federal member Darren Chester, with our mayor in Lakes Entrance, met with the LVA, RDV, both CEOs of East Gippsland and South Gippsland separately, Gippsland Water and the Gippsland Regional Plan Leadership Group. as well as many other things. So I think he probably deserves a well-earned rest. Thank you.
I think we're still working pretty hard, Councillor Marr.
I thought you were saying
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Item 12.2, Draft Latrobe Valley and Gippsland Transition Plan Feedback. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Mackenzie. Would you better turn on your microphone, please, Councillor Mackenzie?
Do that.
Thank you very much.
I wish to move the Council advise the Latrobe Valley Authority, LVA, that it does not support the draft Latrobe Valley and Gippsland Transition Plan based on the reasons contained with this report, and authorise the CEO to draft an appropriate submission to the LVA.
Do I someone to second that? Councillor Stevens. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. In my few years here as council, I haven't seen that our council has not supported any reports from any significant bodies, and for that reason I'm going to take a bit of time to explain the background of it, because I think it's important for our community to understand why we are so opposed to this report. The Latrobe Valley Authority was established by the Victorian Government in November 2016 to support the Latrobe Valley region through economic and community transition after the announcement of the closure of the Hazelwood Power Station. The primary geographic focus of the LVA has been Latrobe City Council and those parts of Gippsland and other local government areas who also were impacted by the closure of the coal stations, notably Ball Ball Shire and Wellington Shire. To this end, our council has been a strong partner and supported the LVA in its activities, and we've delivered many benefits to our community through this relationship. The LVA at this point in time has never had the leading role in managing business and community transition for all of Gippsland, nor have we ever been informed by the Andrews government that this is the case. In releasing a draft document that purports to plan for the transition of businesses and communities throughout Gippsland, the LVA is duplicating much of the good work that is already underway and creating a confusing state government layer that seems to ignore existing strategy documents like the Gippsland Regional Plan. The draft Gippsland Valley and Gippsland Transition Plan is attached to this paper. Specific concerns about the draft include the Latrobe Valley and Gippsland title makes no sense. The Latrobe Valley is part of Gippsland, so it's either an LV plan or a Gippsland plan. To elevate or differentiate the Latrobe Valley over and above the rest of the region, which is the implication of the title, is unnecessary and divisive. When the LVA was asked to clarify where Gippsland and the Latrobe Valley needed to be separated in the title, no explanation was available other than it met with the agreement of many of the working group members. The plan makes no reference to the current Gippsland Regional Plan. The current document is driving the joint action of stakeholders across the region. The plan ignores or covers only in passing key industries that have no direct Latrobe Valley connection. Defence. The future expanding role of RWF East Sale is completely ignored. Fishing and advanced hardwood manufacturing are three examples. Section 3.4 states that One Gippsland has guided the draft plan's development. This is erroneous. While some individuals who are part of the organisation are members of One Gippsland may have had some input into the creation of this document, the draft plan has never been discussed, endorsed or tabled at a One Gippsland meeting. There has been no broad consultation by the Latrobe Valley Authority or the Wellington community regarding this plan or what the role of the LVA is in the wider Gippsland region. Previously, consultation done by the state government has been through the Regional Partnerships Forum. Through this draft is silent on the outcomes of those consultations. The document is clearly more a Latrobe Valley plan, as most of the suggested opportunities and case studies are energy-based and Latrobe Valley-centric. In summary, anyone reading the draft plan cannot miss the undeniable Latrobe Valley flavour of the document. This is understandable. The author of the plan is the LVA, which was established with a focus on the broader Latrobe Valley and the impacts from the closure of Hazelwood Power Station. The LVA has never had a remit over the entire Gippsland region. The danger in the LVA now seems to assume that the role is that they will present ministers and senior decision makers within the Victorian Government with a transition plan that purports to cover all of Gippsland, yet is primarily focused on the Latrobe Valley. The LVA has done no direct consultation with the broader Gippsland community. As such, it has completely ignored the Gippsland Region Plan 2020 to 2025 and the vision and aspirations of that document, which did result from extensive community consultation and stakeholder engagement. It has come up with its vision, its own goals and focus areas, and undermines even the government's own consultation processes through the Gippsland Regional Partnership Forums, which this document also ignores. As a Latrobe Valley Transition Plan, the draft document has solid foundations, but to include the entire Gippsland region to its remit without appropriate broader stakeholder engagement and community consultation is flawed. Further, regional stakeholders like councils must be informed by the government that the LVA now carries this authority, that is, to plan the entire region's transition, and how this new direction impacts on their own work with regional partners and regional development Victorians. Mayor, it took a bit to get there, but I think it was important for our community and for this, and as this is being relayed out to the community, that they understand why we are not happy with that draft. Thank you, Mayor.
Well said, Councillor Mackenzie. It's an important document that's state government led that we need to get right, and it does or should support all of Gippsland, and the heading should say that right from the start. Thank you, Councillor Mackenzie. Item 13.1, Assembly of Councillors. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillor records for the period 30th of January 2023 to the 12th of February 2023.
And seconded by Councillor Marr. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Council Wood, happy with that?
Just a little mention here, Mayor. Under Council's good governance framework, Council provides records of assemblies of councillors to ensure that the community are kept informed of councillors' activity and participation.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. Item 14.1, C118 Well Planning Scheme Amendment. Someone to move that, please.
Yes, I'm
Councillor
happy
Marr.
to. Thanks, Mayor. I move that Council 1, pursuant to Section 8A of the Planning and Environment Act 1987, resolve to request the Minister for Planning to authorise Council as the planning authority to prepare Amendment C118 Well, in brackets, refer to Attachment 2, and 2, resolve to proceed to a period of public exhibition for Amendment C1118 Well on the basis that authorisation is granted.
And someone to second that. Councillor Wood, is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Marr.
Thank you, Mayor. This motion is requesting permission from the Minister of Planning to authorise Council to prepare this amendment and to take it to public exhibition, which forms part of the process formally placing the MAFRA structure plan into the Wellington planning scheme. Work on the MAFRA structure plan began in 2020, which involved reviewing existing land use policies and the opportunities available for growth into the future. It's a forward-looking document that involved extensive community consultation despite the issues that COVID presented to Council, and I certainly commend the officers on being able to deal with that. And as expected, the MAFRA community rose to the challenge and provided Council with their aspirations for the future growth of MAFRA. The structure plan identifies and establishes a coordinated future development for residential, commercial and industrial purposes within the township boundaries. It's certainly a defining document that will be utilised by council planners over the next 20 years, and I'm certainly very proud to have seen this come to fruition. And I thank the planning team as well as the SLUT committee members for making this work a priority. Well done, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Item 14.2, monthly planning decisions, November and December 2022. Someone to move that, please.
I'm happy to move
Councillor
that
Marr.
as well. Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council note the report on recent planning permit trends and planning application determinations between the 1st of November and 31st of December 2022.
And someone to second that motion. Councillor Tatterson. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Marr.
Thank you, Mayor. This covers off 2 months, November and December. In November, there were 58 decisions, and in December, 60. The decisions issued within 60 days is certainly on the increase, which is great to see, despite the resource issue that our planning team have. And we just want to say well done to them for continuing on and keeping the bar high. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Item 15.1, proposed sale of land or roads abutting 56 Turnbull Street in Alberton. Someone to move that, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Stevens.
I'd like to move that 1, pursuant to Section 114 of the Local Government Act 2020, Section 206, subsection 1, including Clause 3 of Schedule 10, and Section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989, Council resolved to advertise its intention to discontinue and to sell the roads abutting 56 Turnbull Street, Alberton, by private treaty. And point 2, Council place a public notice of the proposal in a local newspaper and serve a copy of a notice on abutting property owners and statutory authorities. And 3, Council appoint 3 councillors, being Councillors Stevens, Councillor Marr, Councillor Mackenzie, plus an alternative representative being Councillor Bye, to form the Road Discontinuation Committee 56 Turnbull Street, that is established by Council under Section 223 1B1 of the Local Government Act 1989 to consider written submissions, objections, and to hear any persons who in their written submission under Section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989 have requested that they be heard in support of their submission objection, and point 4 and point 5 as listed in the Council agenda.
And can I have someone to second that, please? Councillor Marr. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, this basically is going to effectively tidy up a couple of parcels of land near Rankin Street in Alberton, and obviously we will go through the due process, and if any member of the public wants to make a submission, they're welcome to do that, and we will form that panel as required under the Local Government Act 1989 to hear any submissions, and then we'll, or if there are no submissions, we will deal with it one way. If there are submissions, then we will hear those submissions and then report back to Council. So pretty much our procedural matters under the Act.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Item 16.1, endorsement of Wellington Disability Advisory Committee. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council appoint the nominated community representatives to the Wellington Disability Advisory Committee as detailed in the attached confidential report. The Wellington, which is called the Wellington Disability Advisory Committee membership, and the point 2 as read.
And someone to second that. I think Councillor Ripper just got you by a little bit. And is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. The Wellington Disability Advisory Committee is formed by Council as an unincorporated advisory group operating under the terms of reference. Council representatives play an important part in giving Council advice and suggestions to improve access and inclusion for people living with or caring for someone with a disability. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. Mr CEO, is there any online comments?
Nothing, Mayor.
In that case, I'll declare the meeting closed at 6:23. Thank you, everyone.